The decisive battle for Earth began when the main Zephyrian fleet arrived in the inner solar system, bringing massive reinforcements to replace their losses from the initial engagements. Admiral Kevin Torres stood on the bridge of his flagship, Terra's might watching as hundreds of alien vessels moved into attack formation around Earth's orbital space. "All fleet units, this is Admiral Torres," Kevin broadcast across the human defense network. "The aliens are making their final push toward Earth. Execute Operation Final Stand immediately. Show them what happens when they threaten humanity's home." Kevin's command ship led the human fleet in a coordinated assault against alien forces that outnumbered them 3-1. However, the past week of combat had proven that human weapons and tactics were superior to anything the aliens possessed. The question was whether humanity could maintain their advantage against overwhelming numbers. The turning point of the battle came when Dr. Rachel White's experimental quantum disruption weapon fired from a hidden platform on Luna's dark side. Her device had been designed specifically to disable alien command and control systems by creating localized disruptions in the exotic matter that powered their ships. "Firing quantum disruption pulse at alien command vessel," Rachel announced from her control station. "All stations prepare for electromagnetic interference effects from the weapon discharge." The quantum pulse struck the alien flagship with invisible energy that cascaded through their exotic matter reactor systems. Within seconds, the massive command ship lost primary power while secondary explosions tore through their internal systems. Emergency lighting flickered across the alien bridge as Overlord Zek realized his ship was dying. "Engineering report status immediately," Zek demanded as his command staff struggled with failing systems. "Restore main power and re-establish fleet." "Communications!" The alien engineering officer checked his readings twice before delivering the devastating news. "Sir, the quantum pulse has destabilized our exotic matter containment. We are losing power throughout the ship, and our main reactors are going critical." Rachel's weapon had not only disabled the alien flagship, but also disrupted the quantum communication network that coordinated the entire Zephyrian fleet. Without centralized command, the alien vessels found themselves fighting dozens of separate battles against human forces that had trained extensively for exactly these scenarios. Captain Danny Scott led the boarding action against the crippled alien flagship using specially designed assault pods that could penetrate enemy hull plating. His Marines represented humanity's finest warriors equipped with weapons and armor that had been specifically developed for fighting inside alien starships. "Marines, we are going into unknown territory." Danny addressed his troops as their assault pods approached the alien command ship. "These aliens have never faced human soldiers in close quarters combat, and they are about to learn why that was a mistake." Danny's assault pods punched through the alien hull while his Marines fought their way through corridors filled with enemy crew members who had no experience with human combat tactics. The aliens were physically larger than humans, but they lacked the aggressive fighting spirit that had been forged by millions of years of human evolution. "Objective Alpha secured," Danny reported as his teams captured the alien bridge. "We have taken control of their command center and captured several high-ranking enemy officers, including their fleet commander. The capture of Overlord Zek and his senior staff provided humanity with invaluable intelligence about the Zephyrian collective, while demonstrating that alien forces could be defeated in direct combat. Human Marines had proven superior to alien soldiers in every engagement. Commander Frank Lopez continued leading fighter strikes against alien vessels throughout the orbital battle zone. His pilots had perfected tactics that took advantage of human flexibility and creativity while exploiting the predictable nature of alien automated defense systems. Gold Squadron concentrate attacks on alien heavy cruisers, Frank instructed his pilots. Use random approach vectors and coordinate with Drone Squadron Beta for maximum effectiveness. Frank's fighters worked in coordination with Captain Mary. Johnson's automated drone swarms to overwhelm alien defenses through multiple simultaneous attacks from unpredictable directions. The aliens found their advanced weapons systems useless against enemies that refused to follow conventional tactical patterns. Colonel Grace Miller's asteroid-based particle beam weapons continued striking alien targets across vast distances while remaining completely undetected by enemy sensors. Her installations had been designed to appear as natural celestial objects while concealing weapons that could destroy ships millions of kilometers away. Target confirmed destroyed, Grace reported after another successful long-range strike. Alien, battlecruiser Victor 12 has been eliminated with direct hit to their power distribution center. The success of Grace's hidden weapons platforms proved that humanity had been preparing for interstellar warfare for decades while maintaining the appearance of a peaceful civilization. The aliens had completely underestimated their opponents' true capabilities. As the battle continued, alien resistance began to collapse throughout the solar system. Human forces had proven superior in every type of engagement from long-range bombardment to close-quarters combat. The Zephyrian fleet that had arrived expecting easy victory was being systematically destroyed by an enemy they had never imagined could exist. Captain Luke Davis led his strike cruiser Defiance in pursuit of fleeing alien vessels while broadcasting surrender demands on all frequencies. His ship had become the symbol of human defiance after destroying the first alien scout ships and proving that humanity would fight rather than submit. Attention alien vessels. This is Captain Davis of the Human Defense Force, Luke transmitted, to the retreating enemy ships. You have 30 minutes to surrender unconditionally or face complete destruction. Many alien vessels responded by powering down their weapons and transmitting surrender signals while others attempted to flee toward the edge of the solar system. Human forces pursued the retreating ships while accepting surrenders from those who chose to give up rather than face certain destruction. Ambassador Lisa Carter broadcast humanity's victory message to the galaxy from the captured alien flagship with Overlord Zek standing in chains beside her. The transmission was sent on all frequencies, ensuring that every species in the Zephyrian collective would witness the defeat of their supposedly invincible fleet. This is Ambassador Lisa Carter speaking on behalf of humanity, she began her historic broadcast. The Zephyrian collective came to our home with demands for surrender and threats of extinction. Instead, they have learned what happens when you threaten the wrong species. Lisa gestured toward the defeated alien commander before continuing her message to the galaxy. Your fleet has been destroyed and your commander captured. Earth is under human protection, and any species that threatens us will share the same fate as these invaders. The ambassador's words carried across space to reach dozens of alien worlds where species that had been conquered by the Zephyrians listened in amazement. For the first time in centuries, someone had successfully resisted the collective and won a complete victory. We are not conquerors seeking to build an empire, Lisa continued. However, we will not tolerate aggression against human worlds or our allies. Any species that chooses peace will find humanity to be generous friends. Those who choose war will face the same destruction you have witnessed here. President Kate Sullivan addressed the human population from the White House as news of total victory spread across Earth and throughout the solar system. Underground cities opened their blast doors, while orbital platforms powered down their weapons after proving their effectiveness in actual combat. My fellow humans, we have achieved something that no other species in the galaxy has accomplished, President Sullivan announced. We have defeated the Zephyrian Collective and proven that humanity will never surrender to those who threaten our freedom. The president's words were broadcast to human colonies throughout the solar system, where celebrations erupted as people realized they had won the greatest victory in human history. The species that had seemed invincible had been completely defeated by human courage and determination. Dr. Ben Turner's analysis of captured alien technology revealed that the Zephyrian Collective ruled through fear rather than true technological superiority. Their weapons were impressive, but their tactics relied on intimidating primitive species rather than fighting determined opponents. Commander Amy Foster's intelligence reports showed that 17 species had been liberated from Zephyrian control by humanity's victory. These worlds had been waiting for someone to stand up to their oppressors, and now looked to humanity for protection and leadership. 6 months after the battle, Captain Sam Wright commanded a human patrol ship protecting trade routes between liberated worlds while ensuring that no aggressive species could threaten the peace. Humanity had become the guardian of freedom in their region of the galaxy. Patrol 7 to command, Sam reported during a routine mission. All shipping lanes are secure and peaceful. No signs of hostile activity in this sector. The galaxy had learned that humans were not primitive newcomers, but The first shots of the war erupted near Pluto's orbit when advance alien scouts encountered Captain Luke Davis commanding the strike cruiser Defiance. The enemy ships approached expecting to find primitive human vessels that would either flee or offer token resistance before being destroyed. Instead, they found a warship that had been specifically designed to kill alien invaders. Enemy contacts bearing 27 Mark IV reported the tactical officer aboard Defiance. 3 alien scout ships moving in standard formation, and they appear to be scanning our vessel. Luke studied the tactical display showing the approaching alien ships. His crew had trained for this exact scenario hundreds of times in simulation, but this was their first chance to test human weapons against real alien technology. "Load kinetic penetrators and target their lead ship," Luke ordered calmly. "Let these aliens see what happens when they threaten humanity." The railgun mounted on Defiance fired a tungsten projectile at 12% of light speed directly at the alien scout ship. The enemy vessel's energy shields flared and died as the kinetic round punched through their defensive systems like they were made of paper. The alien ship exploded in a brilliant flash of light that could be seen across the outer system. "Direct hit on target 1, reported the weapons officer with excitement in his voice. "Enemy vessel is completely destroyed. The remaining alien ships are retreating at maximum speed." Luke watched with satisfaction as the surviving alien scouts fled back toward their main fleet. The first engagement had lasted less than 30 seconds and demonstrated that human weapons were devastatingly effective against alien defenses designed to counter energy weapons. "Communications send a message to Fleet Command," Luke instructed. "Tell them that human kinetic weapons are highly effective against alien shield technology. Recommend immediate implementation of all planned attacks." The news of humanity's first victory spread rapidly through Earth's defense network. Admiral Tony Martinez received Luke's report and immediately authorized the next phase of Operation Defiance. Hidden weapon platforms throughout the solar system began targeting alien vessels, while stealth ships moved into attack positions. Colonel Grace Miller commanded a massive particle beam installation built into an asteroid in the belt between Mars and Jupiter. Her weapon system had been disguised as a mining operation for decades, while secretly drawing power from a fusion reactor buried deep inside the asteroid. Target acquisition confirmed on alien battlecruiser designated Victor 4, Grace reported. to her targeting team. Range is within optimal parameters, and we have a clear firing solution. Grace's weapon system fired a concentrated beam of charged particles across millions of kilometers of space, striking the alien vessel with the force of a nuclear explosion. The enemy ship's shields collapsed instantly, while secondary explosions tore through their hull plating. "Direct hit confirmed," announced her sensor operator. "Enemy vessel is showing massive damage and appears to be losing life support. They are attempting emergency repair procedures." The success of the particle beam attack proved that human weapons could reach across vast distances to strike alien targets with devastating accuracy. Similar installations throughout the asteroid belt began engaging enemy vessels, while alien commanders struggled to understand what was happening. Commander Frank Lopez led a squadron of fighter craft in humanity's first coordinated attack against the main alien fleet. His pilots had trained extensively in unconventional tactics that no alien species had ever encountered in combat. "Gold Squadron, this is Gold Leader," Frank broadcast to his pilots. "Remember, these aliens have never faced human fighter tactics. Use random approach patterns and keep them guessing about our next move." Frank's squadron attacked the alien formation, using completely unpredictable flight paths that confused enemy targeting systems designed to track conventional military approaches. Human fighters dove and rolled through three-dimensional space while firing kinetic weapons that alien point. Defense systems could not effectively intercept. "Gold 3 to Gold Leader," came a voice over the communication system. "I have disabled an alien destroyer with penetrator rounds to their engine section. The ship is drifting and appears to be abandoning power." The fighter attack demonstrated that human tactical flexibility gave them enormous advantages over alien forces that relied on predictable formations and automated defense systems. Human pilots could adapt and improvise, while alien computers followed programmed responses. Captain Mary Johnson commanded a swarm of automated drones that had been secretly deployed throughout the outer system. Her drone network could coordinate attacks involving thousands of small robotic fighters that overwhelmed enemy defenses through sheer numbers. "Deploying Drone Swarm Alpha against Alien Cruiser Group 7, Mary announced from her command ship. "All units are programmed for coordinated, kinetic strikes against priority targets." Mary's drones attacked in waves that came from multiple directions simultaneously, while sharing targeting data through quantum communication links. The aliens found themselves facing attacks from hundreds of small craft that were too numerous for their point defense systems to track effectively. "Drone attack successful," reported Mary's tactical officer. "Enemy cruiser group has sustained heavy damage, and 2 vessels appear to be completely disabled. Remaining ships are attempting to withdraw from engagement zone." The drone swarm attacks proved that human technology could coordinate complex operations involving thousands of individual units working together seamlessly. Alien commanders had never encountered anything like distributed swarm intelligence in combat. On the alien flagship Overlord, Zek stared at his tactical displays in growing disbelief as reports flooded in from throughout his fleet. Human forces were not only resisting, but actually winning engagements against technologically superior alien vessels. "Communications officer, get me damage reports from all squadron commanders immediately," Zek ordered with anger building in his voice. "I want to know how these primitive humans are destroying our ships." The reports that came back painted a disturbing picture for the alien commander. Human weapons were unlike anything the collective had encountered in 2 centuries of conquest. Instead of energy weapons that could be countered by shields, humans used kinetic projectiles that punched through alien defenses. "Sir, the humans appear to be using physical projectiles fired at extremely high velocities," reported his tactical advisor. Our shield systems cannot effectively stop solid objects traveling at significant fractions of light speed. Zek realized that his forces faced an enemy unlike any they had encountered before. Every previous species had used energy weapons and defensive systems similar to those employed by the collective. Humans had developed along completely different technological lines that gave them unexpected advantages. Contact the reserve fleets and order immediate reinforcement of our position, Zek commanded. These humans are more dangerous than our intelligence reports indicated. The battle continued to spread throughout the solar system as human forces executed their carefully planned defensive strategy. Weapons platforms hidden in asteroids engaged alien ships, while stealth vessels conducted hit-and-run attacks that kept enemy forces off balance. Captain Sam Wright coordinated long-range sensor monitoring from his concealed observation post, providing real-time intelligence on alien fleet movements. His data allowed human commanders to predict enemy actions and position their forces for maximum effectiveness. "Command, this is Observation Post 7, Sam transmitted. Alien fleet is showing signs of confusion, and their formation integrity is breaking down. Multiple ships are reporting damage and requesting assistance." The intelligence from Sam's position revealed that alien forces were struggling to adapt to human tactics. Their rigid command structure and reliance on automated systems made them vulnerable to the kind of flexible tactics that human forces employed. Dr. Nina Parker's modified weapons proved devastatingly effective as human ships across the fleet reported successful engagements against alien targets. Her kinetic penetrators could punch through alien armor, while her enhanced nuclear warheads overwhelmed enemy point defense systems. Commander Amy Foster's stealth ships conducted reconnaissance missions deep inside alien formations, gathering detailed intelligence on enemy capabilities while remaining completely undetected. Her reports revealed critical vulnerabilities in alien ship design that human forces could exploit. "Command, this is Shadow Leader," Amy reported from her position near the alien command ship. "I am detecting massive communication traffic between enemy vessels. They appear to be requesting additional reinforcements and reporting heavy casualties." Amy's intelligence confirmed that human forces were winning the first major engagements of the war. Alien commanders who had expected easy victory were instead facing determined resistance from a species that fought unlike anything they had encountered. As the battle continued, both sides prepared for escalated conflict. The aliens were calling in reinforcements while humanity revealed more of its hidden military capabilities. The initial engagements had shown that humans could fight and win against technologically superior opponents, but the real test was yet to come. Captain Jake Morrison watched the battle unfold from Earth defense. Admiral Tony Martinez stood before the massive holographic display in Fleet Command, watching as humanity's true military power assembled for the first time in history. Ships emerged from hidden bases throughout the solar system, while orbital defense platforms revealed weapon systems that had been disguised as civilian infrastructure for decades. The transformation was breathtaking as Earth's peaceful appearance gave way to the reality of a civilization that had been preparing for war since reaching space. "Admiral, we now have over 300 combat vessels active across all defensive zones," reported Captain Luke Davis from the tactical station. "All asteroid belt fortifications are operational, and our deep space monitoring network is tracking every alien ship movement in real time." Tony nodded with grim satisfaction as he watched the deployment unfold. Humanity had spent enormous resources over the past 50 years building defenses while maintaining the illusion of being a peaceful species focused on exploration and trade. The aliens had observed human activities for months without realizing they were watching carefully orchestrated deception. Dr. Nina Parker worked frantically in her weapons laboratory, making final modifications to humanity's arsenal for use against alien technology. Her team had discovered that human weapons systems had several unexpected advantages over the energy-based armaments favored by most alien species. The key advantage we have is that our weapons are primarily kinetic-based, Nina explained to her engineering team. While the aliens have developed sophisticated energy shields, they have no experience defending against physical projectiles traveling at significant fractions of light speed. Nina's team had spent the past 72 hours modifying nuclear warheads and railgun projectiles to maximize their effectiveness against alien shield technology. The results were encouraging as computer simulations showed that alien defenses were nearly useless against properly delivered kinetic strikes. Captain Sam Wright monitored alien fleet movements from his concealed observation post near Pluto's orbit. What he observed told him that the invaders were making critical mistakes based on their assumption that humans would offer no serious resistance. Command the alien fleet is maintaining standard approach formation with no defensive precautions, Sam reported. They are broadcasting their positions on open channels and their ships are flying in tight formations that would be vulnerable to coordinated attacks. The alien commander clearly expected to face either immediate surrender or desperate but ineffective resistance from primitive human forces. They had no experience with a species that had spent decades preparing specifically for this type of invasion scenario. General Ryan Blake coordinated the evacuation of Earth's civilian population from his command center, deep beneath the North American continent. The underground cities that had been secretly constructed over decades were now receiving millions of people as humanity prepared for total war. Sir, civilian evacuation is proceeding ahead of schedule, reported Colonel Grace Miller. All major population centers have activated their underground facilities, and essential personnel are moving to hardened command positions. Ryan watched the evacuation progress with mixed emotions. The underground cities represented decades of secret preparation and enormous expense, but he had always hoped they would never be needed. Now they were humanity's insurance policy against alien orbital bombardment. Commander Amy Foster led a squadron of stealth reconnaissance ships gathering detailed intelligence on alien capabilities. Her vessels used advanced quantum technology to remain invisible while conducting close-range scans of enemy ships and weapon systems. Command, this is Shadow Squadron Leader. Amy transmitted from her concealed position near the alien fleet. I have completed detailed scans of 12 alien vessels and the intelligence is very encouraging for our tactical planning. Amy had discovered that alien ships relied heavily on automated systems and artificial intelligence for combat operations. Their crews were primarily focused on command functions, while computers handled most tactical decisions. This gave human forces a significant advantage in unpredictable combat situations. Dr. Ben Turner worked alongside teams of scientists analyzing every aspect of alien technology that could be observed through long-range sensors. What they discovered revolutionized humanity's understanding of their enemies' capabilities and weaknesses. The alien ships use exotic matter reactors that generate enormous amounts of energy, Ben explained to the Scientific Advisory Council. However, their power distribution systems are centralized, which creates critical vulnerabilities that we can exploit. Ben's analysis showed that alien vessels had impressive raw power but lacked the redundant systems and damage control capabilities that human ships incorporated as standard design features. A successful strike against alien power systems could disable an entire ship. Captain Danny Scott prepared his Marine units for potential boarding operations against alien vessels. His troops had trained for decades in zero-gravity combat, but had never faced alien opponents with unknown capabilities and technology. "Marines, we have no idea what we will find inside those alien ships," Danny addressed his assembled troops. "What we do know is that no alien species has ever faced human Marines in close-quarters combat. We are going to show them why that was a mistake." Danny's Marines represented the finest warriors humanity could produce, equipped with weapons and armor specifically designed for fighting in the confined spaces of enemy starships. They were eager to test their skills against the aliens who threatened their home. President Kate Sullivan addressed the world from her secure command bunker as the final hours before conflict ticked away. Her message was broadcast to every human. Settlement across the solar system and transmitted into deep space for any alien species that might be listening. "My fellow humans, we stand on the edge of the greatest challenge our species has ever faced." President Sullivan began her historic address. "These aliens believe they can simply take our home and scatter us across the galaxy like refugees. They are about to learn that they chose the wrong species to threaten." The president's words carried across Earth and to human colonies throughout the solar system. Military personnel and civilians alike drew strength from her message as they prepared for a war that would determine humanity's future. "We have spent decades preparing for this moment while hoping it would never come," Sullivan continued. "Our scientists have developed weapons these aliens cannot imagine. Our military has trained for scenarios they have never encountered. Our people have built defenses they do not know exist." Overlord Zek stood on the bridge of his flagship, reviewing final preparations for what he expected to be a simple extermination operation. The 72-hour deadline set by the humans was nearly expired, and he had received no message of surrender from Earth. "Overlord, the human deadline expires in less than 6 hours," reported his tactical officer. "Should we begin the final approach to their homeworld?" Zek considered the question carefully. In his experience, species that issued ultimatums to the B collective were simply engaged in desperate bluffing before inevitable surrender. However, something about the human response troubled him in ways he could not fully explain. "Begin the approach, but maintain full sensor sweeps," Zek ordered. "I want to know immediately if these humans have any surprises waiting for us." The alien fleet began moving toward Earth's orbital space, while human forces tracked their every movement. Advanced sensors monitored alien communications and weapon systems, while tactical computers calculated optimal engagement scenarios. Captain Jake Morrison watched the approaching alien fleet from Earth Defense Station Luna, knowing that the next few hours would determine whether humanity remained free or became another conquered species in the alien empire. His station's weapons were charged and ready, while his crew prepared for the battle of their lives. "All stations, this is defense." "Command!" came the voice of Admiral Martinez over the communication system. "Alien forces will reach engagement range in 4 hours. All units are to maintain defensive positions until ordered to commence Operation Defiance." Throughout the solar system, human forces completed their final preparations as the countdown to war continued. Underground cities sealed their entrances, while orbital platforms loaded their weapons. Stealth ships moved into attack positions, while reconnaissance vessels continued gathering intelligence. The aliens expected to face a primitive species armed with basic technology and driven by desperation. Instead, They were about to encounter the full military might of a civilization that had been preparing for this exact scenario since first looking up at the stars and wondering what else might be out there. Dr. Nina Parker's weapons modifications were complete and loaded into human ships across the fleet. Ben Turner's analysis of alien vulnerabilities had been distributed to every tactical commander. Amy Foster's intelligence reports gave human forces detailed knowledge of enemy capabilities and weaknesses. As the final hours ticked away, both sides prepared for a conflict that would echo across the galaxy. The aliens approached with confidence, born of 2 centuries of easy victories. Humanity waited with grim determination forged by generations of survival against impossible odds. The stage was set for a battle that would redefine what it meant to threaten the human species. General Ryan Blake stood in the underground command center, deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, watching as Earth's true military strength came online for the first time in decades. Giant screens showed tactical displays from across the solar system, as hidden bases activated and revealed themselves. What the aliens thought were simple mining operations and commercial space stations were actually heavily armed military installations that had been waiting for exactly this moment. Sir All Deep. Space platforms are reporting ready status, reported Colonel Grace Miller from her station. The asteroid belt installations have powered up their main weapons, and our stealth reconnaissance ships are moving into position around the alien fleet. Ryan nodded with satisfaction as he watched decades of secret preparation finally paying off. Earth's governments had been quietly building humanity's true defense forces while maintaining the appearance of a peaceful civilization focused on exploration and trade. The aliens had no idea what they were really facing. Commander Amy Foster piloted her stealth ship through the outer system, staying invisible to alien sensors as she gathered intelligence on the invasion fleet. Her ship was one of 50 reconnaissance vessels that used advanced quantum technology to remain undetected while observing enemy movements. What she saw both worried and encouraged her. "Command, this is Shadow 7. Amy whispered into her communication system. "I am getting close-range scans of the alien vessels, and I have some interesting observations to report." Amy's ship drifted, silently past one of the massive alien battleships, recording every detail of its construction and weapon systems. The vessel was impressive and clearly powerful, but Amy noticed something that gave her hope. The alien ship's design focused on intimidation rather than actual combat effectiveness. "Command, the alien vessels appear to be built for show rather than serious warfare," Amy continued her report. "Their weapons are primarily energy-based, and their shield systems seem designed to defend against similar technology. I am not detecting any kinetic weapon systems or physical armor plating." Back on Earth, Dr. Ben Turner worked alongside engineer Carol Adams in a secure laboratory analyzing every piece of data from the alien reconnaissance missions. What they discovered was both surprising and encouraging for humanity's chances of survival. "Carol, look at these power readings from the alien ships," Ben said excitedly, pointing at his computer screen. "Their energy systems are incredibly advanced, but they rely entirely on exotic matter reactors. Our quantum computer networks are actually processing information faster than their ship computers." Carol studied the data carefully before responding with growing excitement in her voice. "Ben, this means our tactical response systems can outthink their command networks in real-time combat situations. They have raw power, but we have processing speed and flexibility." The breakthrough was immediately reported to the Global Defense Council, where President Sullivan and her advisors were finalizing humanity's response to the alien ultimatum. Ambassador Lisa Carter had spent hours crafting a message that would shock the invaders and let them know they had made a serious mistake. "Madam President, the response message is ready for transmission," Lisa announced. "I believe it will make our position very clear to these aliens and show them that humanity is not like the other species they have conquered." President Sullivan reviewed the message one final time before authorizing its transmission to the alien fleet. She knew that once this message was sent, there would be no turning back, and humanity would be committed to a war against a technologically superior enemy. Admiral Tony Martinez coordinated the largest military mobilization in human history from his command post on Luna. Ships that had been hidden in asteroid bases for decades emerged and began forming battle groups throughout the solar system. The commercial space traffic that aliens had observed was replaced by warships and defense platforms that seemed to appear from nowhere. "All fleet commanders, this is Admiral Martinez," Tony broadcast on secured military channels. "Operation Defiance is now active. All civilian populations are to be evacuated to prepared underground facilities immediately. All military units are authorized to engage enemy forces on site." Captain Sam Wright commanded a forward observation post disguised as a scientific research station near the edge of the solar system. His job was to monitor alien fleet movements and provide early warning when they began their final approach toward Earth. What he observed told him that the aliens were severely underestimating their human opponents. The alien fleet is moving in standard formation with no apparent concern for stealth or defensive positioning, Sam reported to Fleet Command. They are broadcasting their movements on open channels and making no attempt to conceal their battle plans. They clearly expect no serious resistance from Earth forces. Dr. Nina Parker led a team of weapons specialists working around the clock to adapt human military technology for use against alien targets. Her laboratory had become a hive of activity as scientists and engineers modified everything from nuclear warheads to kinetic projectile systems. "The beauty of our weapons technology is its simplicity," Nina explained to her team. "While the aliens have focused on exotic energy weapons and defensive shields, we have perfected the art of throwing very heavy objects very fast. Their shields cannot stop physical impacts at relativistic speeds." As preparation continued across Earth's Defense Network, Ambassador Lisa Carter made final preparations for humanity's historic response to the alien ultimatum. She stood before the main communication array, knowing that her next words would either save humanity or condemn it to total war. "This is Ambassador Lisa Carter speaking on behalf of all human governments and peoples," she began her transmission to the alien fleet. "We have received your ultimatum, and we reject it completely. Humanity will not surrender to your demands, and we will not abandon our home." Lisa paused for a moment to let her words sink in before continuing with the most important part of humanity's message. "Instead, we present you with our own ultimatum," she said firmly. "You have 72 hours to withdraw all of your forces from human space and return to wherever you came from. If you refuse to leave peacefully, then you will face the consequences of threatening the wrong species." The message was broadcast on all frequencies, ensuring that not only the Zephyrian fleet would receive it, but also any other alien species that might be monitoring human communications. Lisa wanted the entire galaxy to hear humanity's defiant response to the invasion. "We are not a primitive species that you can simply push around," Lisa continued. "We are humanity, and we have been preparing for this day since we first looked up at the stars. You have 72 hours to decide whether you want to leave in peace or be forced to leave by our military." On board the Zephyrian flagship, Overlord Zek, stared at his communication screen in complete disbelief. In over 2 centuries of conquest operations, no species had ever responded to their ultimatum with anything other than immediate surrender, or desperate pleas for mercy. This human response was completely outside his experience. "Communications officer, verify that transmission," Zek ordered his subordinate. "I want to make sure we received their message correctly." The young Zephyrian officer checked his equipment twice before confirming what his commander already knew. The humans had not only rejected their ultimatum, but had issued their own demands for the collective to withdraw from human space. "Sir, the transmission is verified," the officer reported nervously. "The humans are demanding that we leave their territory within 72 hours or face military action." Zek felt a mixture of anger and confusion as he processed this unprecedented situation. Every species the collective had encountered followed the same pattern of either immediate submission or futile resistance that was quickly crushed. These humans seemed to believe they could actually win a war against the mighty Zephyrian fleet. Throughout the alien fleet, similar scenes of confusion played out as military commanders struggled to understand how a primitive species could be so confident in the face of overwhelming odds. They had observed human space activities for months and seen nothing that suggested serious military capabilities. Back on Earth, the final preparations for war continued as humanity's hidden strength revealed itself across the solar system. Underground, cities powered up their life support systems as billions of people took shelter in facilities that had been secretly constructed over decades. Military commanders took their positions in hardened command centers, while defense platforms loaded their weapons for the first time. Captain Jake Morrison watched from his command station as the alien fleet began moving toward the inner solar system. The invaders clearly believed they were about to crush another primitive species, but they had no idea what humanity had been building while pretending to be peaceful explorers and traders. The 72-hour countdown had begun, and both sides prepared for a conflict that would determine the future of human civilization. The aliens expected an easy victory over a species they viewed as barely worthy of their attention. They were about to discover that humanity had been preparing for this war since the day they first reached for the stars. Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of Earth Defense Station Luna, watching the stars through the massive viewing window when the alarms started screaming. His coffee cup fell from his hand and shattered on the metal floor as red lights flashed throughout the command center. The night shift crew jumped into action at their stations while Jake rushed to the main display screen. "What do we have, Lieutenant?" Jake asked the young officer at the sensor station. The woman's face was pale as she stared at her readings and checked them twice before responding. "Sir, we have massive contacts appearing at the edge of our solar system," she said with a shaky voice. 12 ships total, and they are huge. Each one is at least 5 kilometers long, and they just appeared out of nowhere." Jake felt his stomach drop as he looked at the sensor data. In all his 20 years serving with Earth Defense Force, he had never seen anything like this. The ships were clearly not human, and their technology was far beyond anything Earth had ever built. They hung in space like sleeping giants waiting for something. "Get me a direct line to Earth Command immediately," Jake ordered. "And wake up everyone on this station. I want all departments at full alert status right now." Down on Earth in the United Nations, Space Command Headquarters, Ambassador Lisa Carter was already awake when the emergency call came through. She had been working late in her office reviewing trade agreements when her secure communication device started flashing with urgent priority signals. Lisa quickly activated the main screen and saw Jake Morrison's worried face looking back at her. "Ambassador, "We have a situation up here," Jake said without any greeting. 12 alien vessels just appeared in our outer system, and they are not responding to our standard communication attempts. We need instructions on how to proceed. Lisa felt her heart racing as she processed this information. For decades, humanity had wondered if they were alone in the universe, and now they had their answer. The question was whether these visitors came in peace or with other intentions. "Captain Morrison, I want you to maintain current alert status, but do not take any aggressive actions," Lisa instructed. "Keep monitoring their movements and record everything. I am calling an emergency meeting with the Global Defense Council immediately." As Lisa ended the call with Jake, she immediately contacted President Kate Sullivan's private line. The president answered on the second ring despite the late hour, and Lisa quickly explained the situation. Within minutes, President Sullivan was ordering emergency sessions with defense ministers from every major nation on Earth. Meanwhile, on the lead alien vessel, Overlord Zek of the Zephyrian Collective was reviewing final preparations for what he expected to be a simple conquest operation. The bridge of his flagship was filled with representatives from 12 different alien species, all united under Zephyrian leadership. For over 2 centuries, the Collective had been expanding across the galaxy, bringing primitive species under their control. "Communications officer, transmit the standard ultimatum to the human homeworld," Zek commanded in his deep metallic voice. "Make sure they understand the consequences of resistance." The communication reached Earth's main receiving station within hours. Ambassador Lisa Carter stood in the emergency command center surrounded by world leaders and military officials as the alien message played on the central screen. The holographic image showed Overlord Zek in all his intimidating glory with his scaled skin and glowing red eyes. "Primitive species of the third planet," the alien's voice boomed through the speakers. "I am Overlord Zek of the Zephyrian Collective. Your species has been selected for integration into our empire. You have 30 of your planetary rotations to surrender all advanced technology and prepare for relocation to designated preservation zones. Resistance will result in complete elimination of your species. This is not a negotiation, but a statement of fact." The room fell silent as the message ended. President Sullivan looked around at the faces of her advisors and saw the same mixture of fear and anger that she felt building inside herself. General Ryan Blake was the first to speak, breaking the uncomfortable silence. "Madam President, we need to activate all defense protocols immediately," he said firmly. "Our deep space monitoring stations show that these aliens have overwhelming technological superiority. We cannot win a direct confrontation with conventional forces." Dr. Alex Rodriguez raised his hand to get attention from the group. As Earth's leading expert on theoretical alien contact, he had spent years studying this exact scenario. His analysis of the alien transmission data was troubling, but also revealed important information. "I have been studying the communication patterns and ship designs," Dr. Rodriguez explained. "These aliens have used identical ultimatums on 47 other species based on references in their data streams. Every single species either surrendered immediately or was completely destroyed. They clearly expect us to respond with either submission or desperate pleading." Ambassador Lisa Carter stepped forward with determination in her voice. She had spent her entire career preparing for first contact situations, but never imagined it would happen under such threatening circumstances. "Dr. Rodriguez, are you saying these aliens have never encountered resistance before?" she asked. "They seem very confident that we will simply give up without a fight." "That appears to be correct, Ambassador," Dr. Rodriguez confirmed. "Their entire Approach suggests they view this as a routine operation. They do not seem prepared for any species that might actually fight back against their demands. President Sullivan listened carefully to all the information before making her decision. She looked around the room at the representatives of every major nation on Earth and saw the same resolve reflected in their faces. Humanity had faced extinction before, and had always found a way to survive. Ladies and gentlemen, we are not going to surrender to these aliens, President Sullivan announced firmly. We are going to show them that they picked the wrong species to threaten. General Blake, activate all defense systems and prepare our response. Ambassador Carter, I want you to draft a message that will make our position very clear to these invaders. As the meeting continued through the night, reports came in from around the world. The alien ultimatum had been broadcast to every major government simultaneously. Radio telescopes detected massive energy signatures from the alien fleet as they began moving slowly toward the inner solar system. Earth's hidden defense installations started powering up systems that had never been tested in actual combat. Captain Jake Morrison watched from his station as more alien ships appeared throughout the outer system. The invaders were clearly positioning themselves for what they expected to be an easy victory. Jake thought about his family back on Earth and felt anger building inside him. These aliens had no right to threaten humanity's home, and they were about to learn a very hard lesson. Dr. Ben Turner worked frantically in his laboratory, analyzing every piece of data they could gather about alien technology. What he discovered gave him hope that humanity might have more advantages than anyone realized. The aliens were powerful, but they had never faced a species like humans before. In command, centers across Earth, military leaders prepared for the greatest challenge in human history. They knew the odds were against them, but they also knew that humanity had never backed down from a fight when survival was at stake. The aliens expected fear and submission, but they were about to encounter something they had never seen before. As dawn broke over Earth, the alien fleet continued its slow approach toward the inner planets. Overlord Zek expected to receive humanity's surrender message within hours. Instead, he was about to receive something that would change everything he thought he knew about conquest and resistance. Humanity was preparing to show the galaxy what it meant to threaten the wrong species.